Some stories begin with power and fame. This story begins with sacrifice. Long before history was written, before cities had names, before kings believed they would rule forever, humanity had only one question: how did we come to be? This is not the story of a god, not of a hero. This is the story of a choice, and the story of the one who paid the price for that choice. In the dawn of humanity, the world was a merciless place. People existed, of course, but their lives consisted of nothing more than the struggle to survive. Each day was a fight to make it to the next. There was no fire yet. Light came only with the sun and left with it. At night, there was only darkness. And in that darkness, every sound, every shadow was a threat. In that darkness, the cold mercilessly pierced through bones. The darkness fed fear, nurtured it. Nature's laws were harsh, and humans were the weakest within those laws. Fear was not just an emotion for them. It was their destiny. Above, there was another world. The peaks of Olympus were under the dominion of the gods, immortal, powerful, unreachable. They looked down, but they did not intervene, because this was the order, and in this order, human ignorance protected the gods' power. Prometheus was one of them, a titan from the beginning of time. He lived in the magnificent halls of Olympus, but his mind was never there. His gaze was always downward, watching humanity's helpless and anguished existence. For days, months, perhaps years, he watched them. He watched the hunger. He watched the cold. He watched them cling tightly to each other in the darkest hours of night, trembling at the howls of predators. And in that moment he understood humans were not weak. They were simply helpless. They had potential, but they lacked the means. Fire. Fire was in the hands of the gods. It was not used as a weapon, nor was it distributed as a reward. Fire was more than that. It was a boundary, an invisible yet insurmountable line drawn between gods and humans. Fire meant knowledge. It meant power. It meant progress. Fire meant freedom. Prometheus saw this line clearly, and he could not accept it. He knew the price of stealing fire, Zeus's wrath, the god's fury, his future. He knew it all. But he knew something else, too. The price of not giving fire was heavier than giving it, because that price meant humanity remaining in eternal darkness. He moved silently. This was not a glorious rebellion, nor a defiant challenge shouted aloud. It was simply deep determination. He took a flame from the sacred hearth of Olympus. He hid it inside a fennel stalk, and he brought it down to humanity. When humans received the fire, everything changed. First, the cold retreated. Then the nights grew shorter because the flames illuminated the darkness. Predators feared the fire. They were frightened. Hands began to shape stones with the heat of fire. Minds began to ask questions, to think, to imagine. For the first time since humanity had been on this stage, they were not merely surviving, they were living. But Olympus did not remain silent. Because the gods never liked losing control. The order had been disrupted, the boundary had been crossed, and there had to be a punishment. They captured Prometheus, and he was not merely punished. The gods wanted to show everyone what consequences stealing from the gods would bring. He was chained to the most remote corner of the world, to the high Caucasus Mountains, to a place where the wind blew mercilessly, where even loneliness feared to tread. And there, the same agony was repeated every day Every morning an eagle came, a giant bird sent by Zeus tore apart and devoured Prometheus's liver. And every night his immortal body regenerated itself, so that the same torture could begin again and again, each day. For the first time, immortality turned from a gift into a curse. But Prometheus was not sorry. Never. Because with every scream, with every moment of suffering, he remembered the fires burning below. He remembered the hope on people's faces, the creative power in their hands, the enlightenment in their minds. And humanity truly progressed. They cultivated the land, plowing and harvesting. They built cities, stacking stones upon stones. They wrote, carrying their thoughts to future generations. They created art. They developed science. With each step, that small piece of fire that Prometheus had stolen grew larger, spread, and multiplied. And Prometheus's suffering gained value then. Time passed, gods changed, beliefs changed, people changed, but fire remained. In every hearth, in every torch, in every light bulb, on every computer screen, fire remained. Perhaps Prometheus was still chained, but humanity was free. For this reason, fire was not theft. It was a sacrifice. It was a gift. It was Prometheus's love. Some stories are not about heroism. Some are about price. And some progress begins with someone suffering forever. Prometheus's fire still burns, each time a little brighter. If you enjoyed this type of story, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments.